Ladies and gentlemen, we are live this week in our health and fitness series for the Mind Valley channel. We are doing something slightly different. If you come here every week on Tuesdays now, what you always see is a video that we recorded, and we have a couple of themes on health and fitness and biohacking that we bring to the Mind Valley channel. And we've been recording a series of videos since the beginning of this year. Every Tuesday we release one. But then 2 weeks ago, I moved out of Malaysia and moved into Tallinn, Estonia. And so there was a gap of time that we didn't record new videos. And then we said, you know what? Let's take this to an advantage and see and interact live with our community, with Mind Valley community on health and fitness. And while we are now preparing a next season, let's say, of videos on health and fitness, then let's do a live call on the same time that our videos would go live otherwise, to talk to the community and have a live interaction. And so today, we are answering questions on fitness. If you are in the beginning of your fitness journey, if you're thinking, 2021 is the year that I'm going to transform my body, what that means to you, how do I do that? And you have questions about this, bring these questions to me. If you're already deep into your fitness journey and you're getting the most out of your body, if you are an athlete, this is also the time for us to ask some questions. I want to say hi. I see a lot of people coming live. I have here Darren, Draco, Corey, Oyas, Nida, Anvid, Rai, Bulazi, and Ankur, Jamie, Philip, Barat. Hi, everyone. I would love to know where you are speaking from. Where are you speaking from? And I would love to know, if I ask you, are you in your fitness journey in terms of how you engage with your body? Are you a beginner in your fitness journey? Do you consider yourself intermediate? You've done a lot of different sports, or you've been far in transforming your body? Or are you advanced, like an athlete level? You're very athletic, or even this is your main level of, this is your main profession, right? Are you a beginner? Are you intermediate in your fitness journey, or are you advanced? I would love to know. And from the get-go, we have a couple of questions. And if you have questions about the fitness journey, about fitness in general, this is the time to ask a couple. And I get one question from Darren. That this is the one that I will start from. It says, I have a question. When did you start your health and fitness journey? To myself. And this is something that is a unusual story for me. How I got into health and fitness was not a early motivation in my life. When I was a kid, health and fitness was the last thing I cared about. It was the last thing because I'm from Brazil. And in Brazil, you have two types of kids. You have the kids that are good in football and the kids that are horrible in football. And I was always part of the horrible group. And so I was always left out when you go for physical education classes. The teacher puts the best players, the captains, in the middle of the court, and all the other kids, they are behind in front of a wall with their back towards the wall, and the captains choose who they want in their teams. And I was always the last one to be picked out. And not only the last one, the captain of the team that got me in their team, they were always, oh man, we have Ronan in our team. What is it that we're going to do? So engaging with my body was not something that brought me joy. And so sports and physical activity and anything when I was a kid was something that was very far away to me. And I was a musician. I'll get my guitar and I'll play guitar because I didn't want to engage with my body. I was a really good student, but not engaged physically. But then I had a lot of energy that I needed to put somewhere. And I grew up in a community that was not really structured. There was a lot of kids going into violence, and I was going into that drugs and robbery and this kind of things. And I was getting into that because I was too much energy until my parents put me to practice martial arts. And this is when I started shifting all the energy that I got that was going into a kind of wrong, tricky direction into capoeira and karate and kung fu and tai chi and things that I practiced since I was a little kid. And this got me to engage more with my body in a different way. When I was 18, I decided that I want to start going to the gym because I was the skinniest and the shortest kid in school, and I wanted to transform my body somehow. But what I realized is that my body was not built to be strong and muscular or anything, because it will never respond to training. And now I have a question for you. If you ever, some people respond really well to any type of sport, any type of exercise or training. They go to the gym, poof, their health is better, their energy is super high, they build muscles, they burn fat, and they're always in shape. There are other people that it feels like it doesn't matter what they do, everyone else gets results, but they don't. If you are this kind of person, say hi in the chat, because this is what my body type is like. I would go to the gym with everyone. I had friends from university. I had just started university. We would do every day the very same training. Everyone would go forward, and my body would not respond. It was like it stays stuck where it is. I try to train and it doesn't give me any response. And then the nutrition we'll always learn with people that were going to the gym. They say, eat this, eat that, and everyone would do this. All the friends would get result, and I would just get bloated. I would just fart the entire day, or I'll accumulate fat. But building strength and muscle mass was not something that was there. And I was very frustrated because my body didn't seem to react. I was there making more effort than anyone. At some point, I was having my morning routines. I was doing yoga. I was eating only clean foods. I was training every day. I was doing much more than any other person that they still were going to the gym, but they would skip training sometimes, or they would eat junk food sometimes, or they would drink alcohol. I was making a lot more effort, but not getting any result. And so I realized that if I wanted to improve the fitness and to improve the state of my body, I would need to study more. And then I did what most people don't do, because their body's working well, they keep doing the same things. I needed to go into the books. And then I started reading books, and I started working with different authors in the health and fitness space to learn from them. I started working with athletes as well. And at some point, I went very deep into the science. I'll go straight into scientific studies and get, okay, what is the most advanced knowledge that we have on health and fitness? What are the morning routines, the foods to eat, not to eat, the training protocols for endurance, for running, for strength and muscle mass? What is fitness? How do I improve these things? And I started running experiments. And this is when my body started to respond. And what I realized is that I didn't have the body of the athlete. There's the body that whatever you do, it responds super well, it performs great. But I was blessed with the body of the teacher. That is the body that doesn't respond to anything. So you have so many problems that for you to solve all of them, you need to learn so much that now you can help a lot of other people by doing so. So this is a bit of the beginning of the fitness journey. And I started lifting weights in the gym, and then I started doing athletic competitions, and then I won. I started running those Spartan races, and I won a couple of those. And because now I found how to really get a body that doesn't respond to actually respond. What are the techniques? What are the elements there? Then the body starts to perform really well, and I built this relationship with my own body. For people arriving right now, welcome. We're doing a live video about fitness to answer the most common questions on fitness. And if you have any question related to that, go to the chat and ask your question on your fitness journey or something, any question that I can provide, I can be helpful to you right now. I want to see who else is online and see if we have any questions in the chat box. One thing that I ask you if you're arriving right now is if you are in your fitness journey, if you're a beginner, if you consider yourself an intermediate or advanced. And I'm having here like Deepak, intermediate, Philip, intermediate. We have Bushan, a beginner, and it's great to know where you are in this journey, because depending on what you learn from fitness, the advanced type of advice works for advanced people, but not for beginners people. The beginners types of strategies work for beginners, but not for advanced. I am getting one question that just popped in my screen here. It comes from Binod Verma. What's up, Binod? And he says, what are vegan protein sources? I love this question because it's for whoever eats a vegan diet. If you eat a vegan diet, let me know in the chat. I want to know how many people is following a vegan diet. A lot of people get stuck in their fitness journey if they follow a vegan diet, not because the vegan diet doesn't work. The vegan diet can be awesome if you do it, if you engineer, if you design it well. And the main mistake that people usually make is a very low level of protein. And so the fitness journey just doesn't go forward. They don't improve their strength. They don't improve muscle mass. They even don't improve their endurance. The body starts not to respond because you are training well, but you're not giving the raw material for the body to adapt. And that's coming from protein. And with vegan proteins, there are a couple of things that you want to keep in mind. First, that you need to mix different types of sources. What are the main sources for vegan protein? They come from legumes and pulses. So you have all these things like lentils and beans and chickpeas. All these types of foods, they are your legumes and pulses. They are at the same time carbohydrate and protein. In a vegan source, you don't have a pure protein source like you have on animal meat, for example. You only have proteins that come together with carbohydrates and fiber, which is not a bad thing, but it's something to keep in mind. And they don't provide a complete source of amino acids, so you need to mix them. All the proteins, what your body really needs is amino acids. That's what you get when you break down a protein into smaller pieces. There are a bunch of them, a big combination of amino acids, and vegan sources only give you a subset of all the amino acids that you need. And so you need to combine legumes, for example. So in one meal, you have beans, or you have black beans, rajma beans, right? Or you have chickpeas, for example. In the other meal, you have something with seeds. So you may have some oats and rice, or you may add some seeds on it. So like sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds, because the protein that is coming from the grains or the seeds are complementing the protein that is coming from the legumes that you ate in your previous meal. You can either combine these sources in the same meal or throughout the day. I have one video. If you go to the Mind Valley channel and the playlist just for the health of it, there is one video that only talks about vegan protein sources. Then there are two other things that are important. One, a lot of the protein from vegan sources will come from soy-based products. Things like tofu or tempeh, for example. They are not bad as long as you get a good quality source. Because it's soy, it's very likely that it may be also a GMO product, and you don't want that. And so most of the mass production of soy is a bad quality, is genetically modified. You don't want that because it's harmful to your body. So if you're getting tofu, if you're getting tempeh, this gives you a very high quality protein, but then make sure that it's a great quality of ingredient source. The third protein source for a vegan diet would be a vegan protein powder. It's a protein powder that already mixes protein from peas and from lentils and from almonds and from rice, and puts all together in one powder that has mostly pure protein. It will not be your main source of protein, but it's a very useful supplement source, because it makes it very convenient, so you don't need to eat a huge amount of lentils every day. Let's see what else we have there. We have a couple of minutes left. Maybe we can do one or two more questions. And we have a question from Kabir Kumar. What's up, Kabir? I'm very skinny. How can I gain muscles and weight? Please tell me any vegetarian way. So yeah, Kabir. So if you want to gain weight, if you want to gain muscle mass, there are three games that you want to play. Is one of them, nutrition is only one of them. The main game that will drive this is your strength training, is your exercise, and then there's recovery. So let's go quickly through each one of them. And if you want more details, there's one video that I made only on how the most effective way to gain weight in the Mind Valley channel. You can get more details there. But an overview here is one. You need to give the body a signal to build things. Because for you to gain weight, you need to eat more. But if you eat more only, you are gaining fat and not muscle mass. And this is not what you want. It's not what improves the performance of the body. It's not what improves any aspect of the body. You want to eat more, and then that extra energy to be built, to be accumulated towards building muscle mass, right? So then what makes that extra food, the extra amount of calories to turn into muscle mass, let's say, is your exercise. But not all exercises are made equal. If you say, okay, I'm going to start exercising, so I'm going to do some stretching and some running. Yeah, this is really good for you, but not to build muscle mass, not to gain weight. The type of exercise that you want to do is strength training, or also called resistance training. That is when you're moving, you're lifting weights basically. Right? You're moving, you're contracting your muscles, and you are lengthening your muscles under tension. This is what happens when you're lifting weights. When you do that and you fatigue your muscles while under tension, you are giving your brain a signal that we need to be stronger. Because on a daily basis, we're using 100% of our muscle potential. And then the brain say, hey, for us to keep on surviving, I'm going to make this muscle fibers stronger, and I'm going to grow more muscle mass. Then you need at least six types of exercises here that we call the big six exercises. There's one video that I did on how to do a home workout. I released last week. That has all these six exercises there. How you do them at home, how you do them with resistance bands, or even if you go to the gym, how you do them. There's a video that talks about that. You do those six exercises, and then you need to pair this with the nutrition game. There's a second game that you want to play. You want to increase the amount of calories. And if for someone that is underweight, they need to increase the amount of calories because they feel full with a little bit of food. So then you need to use foods that are high density. You know, if gaining weight is hard for you, then you need to eat high density, high caloric dense foods. And things are... So you increase the carbohydrates before and after training, but you have, for example, a smoothie that has a banana, that has maybe some protein powder, and has some peanut butter, some nut butter, some nuts and seeds that are very tiny in volume, but have a lot of calories because they provide the extra energy for your body to rebuild itself after your strength training. The third thing that I want to give your body is adequate sleep. Because when you train, you give the signal that the body needs to be stronger. With the extra amount of calories that come from the nuts, the seeds, the peanut butter, and things like that, you give the raw material for the body to rebuild itself. But all this activity of rebuilding happens when you are sleeping. So if your sleep is too short, or if you're not sleeping enough, you also have difficulties in gaining weight. So these are the three main pillars of building muscle mass and gaining weight, if that is something that is challenging for you. All of these three things, if you go to the playlist just for the health of it in the Mind Valley channel, you find three different videos. They speak in more details into each one of these topics. Let's go we are now in 19 minutes. I'm going to go for one more question. And let's see what comes here in my screen. So we are, hi Ronan, this is from Sia. Do you recommend the Keto Diet? And my answer is yes and no. The answer here is always, it depends. because it really depends on what your current state is and where do you want to take your body towards. And so let's unpack that a little bit so it's a useful answer for you, right? The keto diet, or I'll not talk only about the keto diet, but I'll bring the bucket of the low carbohydrate diet. The keto diet is a subset of a low carbohydrate diet. Is when carbohydrates are very low and has a specific amount ratio between protein and fat, so your body enters in a ketogenic state. Usually people that are going for a strict ketogenic diet, as the technical name defines it, is usually for medical purposes. It's more for people who are treating some brain conditions. That this is what the ketogenic diet was designed for. The people in the health and fitness space that are going towards a ketogenic diet, what they're really going towards is a low carbohydrate diet, because sometimes the protein is higher and their main goal is to burn fat. And if that is your case, then a low carbohydrate diet or a ketogenic diet may be very helpful for someone who has a extra amount of body fat to burn, and they have a lot of inflammation because of that, they have a lot of overweight because of that, and they have tried other ways to lose weight, and it hasn't worked. And so the low carbohydrate side or the ketogenic side may be a very useful option for that kind of person, because it is a way that makes, for most people, it makes burning fat or losing weight something a little more reachable, because you see that there's no food cravings. A lot of the times when you go for, if you want to try to lose weight and burn fat, sometimes it doesn't work because you know what to do, you know what you should and should not eat for that, but just you cannot execute. You really want to eat, you do super well for 3 days. On the 4th day, you go out for dinners with friends, and it has, maybe the pasta or the cookies or the curry with bread, and then you eat a little bit of that and say, okay, now that I already went out of my plan, so be it, and let's do this for a couple of more days. And there you go, the intention was good, but the execution was hard to do because there's this craving, right? The ketogenic diet and all the low carb diets, they usually remove all this craving. You just don't feel like it. You see, that food that you could barely control yourself, and it doesn't trigger a willing to eat. It's much easier for people to control themselves and be disciplined with food without making an effort, because you don't have that craving for sugary foods or for high carbohydrate foods after the first week of the ketogenic diet. So this is very useful, where there are a lot of health benefits as well, that you decrease the inflammation, and you see that a lot of people start seeing that if they have a skin condition, or if they have a joint pain on their shoulders or on their knees, these things start to heal. They start to disappear. If there's a lot of hair falling and they go into a low carbohydrate diet, sometimes they see that these things start to heal themselves, kind of in a magical way. But it's a lot because of the low amount of inflammation that happens, because you're now removing all the sugary foods that turn a internal state of the body into a danger state, into an inflammation state that causes a lot of other symptoms to be manifested. And so you see that all these things are happening. If let's talk about the other side though. When the ketogenic diet or the low carbohydrate diet may not be a good idea. You see that for people who use their bodies in high intensity over the often. So if you are an athlete, or if you're training with the lifting weights, if you want to gain weight, if you want to build a lot of muscle mass, you see that the ketogenic diet will not help you. You'll make these things a lot harder. If your goal is to gain muscle mass and to gain weight and to gain strength, or if you are an athlete or work like an athlete that wants to use your body for lifting weights, sprinting, things that use a lot of explosive motion, the ketogenic diet doesn't offer much support or much fuel. Your performance starts to fall. And you see that you start losing weight when you want to gain weight. And you see that all your strength is kind of decreasing. Your performance is decreasing. So if you're trying to go in that direction, the ketogenic diet is not going to help you much, because you need carbohydrates to feel this type of training, to feel this type of recovery. And if you try to push your body, you say, I'm going to go a ketogenic diet and I'm going to do my high intensity interval training anyway, then you see that you start to get more craving of foods, because you're increasing too much the stress, the demand for carbohydrates, when you're not providing carbohydrates to your body. And so there is this internal conflict. You need the fuel, but you're not providing it, and the body starts to freak out. So if you're trying to gain weight, or if you're trying to use your body for a lot of sports in higher intensity, then you see that the ketogenic diet will not help you much. What I like to do is that I like to phase in and out. I like to do this in a seasonal approach. There are times of the year, like right now, that I'm gaining weight. And so I'm eating more carbohydrates and I'm training more intensely. And this is the time of the year that I'm gaining muscle mass, I'm gaining strength. But with this comes a little bit of fat as well. I accumulate more fat because I'm gaining weight. So these things happen at the same time. Then there'll be another time of the year that I will start to decrease carbohydrates and go into more low carbohydrate diet, that I will keep my strength, I'll keep my muscle mass, probably not build more, but they remain as they are, but I'm just gonna burn the fat that I accumulated in the gaining phase. And so now then I will understand that my strength will decrease, my intensity of performance will decrease as well, but I will be maintaining the amount of muscle mass and getting leaner. And then I go for another phase of gaining more muscle mass, and we did a bit of fat, and then I stay where the muscles are, and then just burn the fat. And every cycle of in and out makes the net result is a higher amount of strength and muscle mass, a higher amount of fitness as well. Ladies and gentlemen, there are more questions, and next week there'll be one more live as well. We are approaching 27 minutes right now. I'm super grateful that you came here to spend this time with me. I'm gonna take notes of these questions that you just gave me, because next week I'm gonna come back online live for another live with you to talk more about fitness questions. I'm gonna start with some of the questions that you just asked here. I'm gonna be in the comment section after this live becomes a video on YouTube, so we can continue our conversation there. But for sure, next week at the same day, on the same time, I'll be here to continue this conversation. Thank you very much. I'm sending you a big hug from Tallinn in Estonia, and I talk to you next week.